Hey everybody, I got to do a video about Iran. I was reading a bunch of articles today, and then we got the big news around 5 o'clock today that Rand Paul is being sent to New York City as Donald Trump's hand-picked emissary to meet with the Iranian foreign minister to try to ease tensions. So, my theory has been all but confirmed. Not just my theory, but that, sorry, that's my cat. Stop. That Trump doesn't want war with Iran. Hey. She's a brat. He doesn't want war with Iran. He's surrounded by war hawks, and, he's got to play hardball and all that kind of crap, but this definitely signals something. And we saw this coming in, over the last couple days. You had it started with Europe coming and calling out the United States and saying that when I say Europe, I mean the Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, who are still trying to stay in the nuclear deal with Iran, and pretty much putting out a united front, saying, listen, U.S., you guys need to ease tensions because we have things we need to do, business we need to attend to, and you guys are screwing it up for the rest of us. So that was the first tip, and then we got the announcement from Trump and Pompeo that they're not looking for regime change, but their goal is Iran cannot get any nuclear weapons, which on the surface is ridiculous. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. They can't make nuclear weapons. They have no intention of making nuclear weapons. They've passed every IAEA inspection since they signed on. They're part of the Non-Proliferation Agreement treaty. But he's got to pander to the domestic demand that Iran is a nuclear threat. Iran is this terrible, 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 evil country, run by nutcases, and they're the world's leading sponsor of terror, and they're responsible for everything bad in the Middle East when it's all inverted and the opposite is true. But it's all good. I mean, that's all good news. Him coming out and saying we're not seeking regime change, we're just no nukes. Pompeo confirming it. And then you even have the acting defense secretary, Mark Esper, who I know nothing about, saying the United States needs to get back on the road to diplomacy. So I think, cooler heads are prevailing. And then I don't know where this is going to go, but this is really a big deal. I mean, Rand Paul's been golfing with Trump since the beginning. He's been back-channeling. He's been back-channeling with Trump on Syria, on North Korea. He's been applauding Trump. He's been applauding Trump on Iran. He's been calling out Bolton and Pompeo and both of them on Venezuela. He had that back and forth with Pompeo in front of Congress, where he straight up asked him, do you think you have the right and the power to declare war with Iran? And Pompeo had that answer, well, I'd have to check with my lawyers. And then Paul had that comment back that said, well, let me answer it for you. You don't have the power. So that ended that right there. So I don't know where this is going to go, but the foreign minister of Iran is in New York this week in the UN, and he's meeting with UN countries. He's meeting with think tanks and everybody else. So I think they're going to come to the table and see what kind of a deal they can make. A deal won't get done right now, but it is a huge sign that Trump sees Rand Paul as an ally, along with Tucker Carlson, who has been vehemently anti-war, not to the extent that I am, but anti-Middle East wars. And you can just tell Trump does not want this. My theory is that Trump is keeping Bolton and Pompeo on through the election, and then once he's reelected, he doesn't need them anymore. He doesn't need the backing of the neocons. He doesn't need the backing of the Likud party. He doesn't need the backing of the power brokers in Washington. He can burn them all down and have the people that he wants in there, and then maybe try to push for his legacy and end a war or two. We've gotten good news with Trump and North Korea when everybody else is pushing back on that they're looking to make a deal and relieve some of the sanctions as long as North Korea agrees to shut down one of their reactors. So we'll see where that goes. But it's just a good trending. It's a good trending path, and man, it's big news. Rand Paul, he's the best we got. He's not the best. He's not his father at all, but he's the best we got. And for him to be tapped to do this really important, mission, I guess you can call it, for Trump. There has been those whispers that he's being tapped for Secretary of State. I always thought he would be a good Secretary of State. We'll see what happens. But this was a nice surprise at the end of the day. And just wanted to put my thoughts down. I don't know where this is going to go, but I really hope that we can have this sea change in foreign policy with Trump. He's not Ron Paul or anything, but what's interesting is going into the election, if he comes at the Democrats from the left on foreign policy, I don't know where they're going to go other than run Tulsi Gabbard or something. I don't see them doing that. This could be... I don't think Trump personally wants to send Americans off to die in wars. I think he knows it's bad business. He wants to make deals with all these countries, but I think also his ego is driving this, and he likes to know that this is the right path to take to re-election, because again, where did the Democrats go? Are they going to become hawkish? Like, Biden is out there talking about how we're betraying the Korean people by negotiating with the North Koreans when we're not even the ones doing the negotiating. We're just allowing the South Koreans to negotiate with their neighbors. So for him to say that we're, betraying them is hilarious when they're the ones that want the peace. Yeah, but with Iran, let's see what happens. Trump's trying to end the war in Afghanistan. He's kept us out of the war in Syria, and it looks like he's pushing us back away from war with Iran, or at least trying to. And he is the president. It's on him, and hopefully he can do what needs to be done to keep us out of that war. Just good news. Just good news all around. We need to support the dude when he does something good. We know he's active on social media. We know he's paying attention to his base. He's paying attention to what keeps him in power and what keeps him on the right side. We saw that with him versus the Squad, which has now taken over the entire news cycle. So let's see where it goes. I'm looking forward to the actual... This gives me something to follow. This Squad crap. I did a video about it more as an entertainment for myself, but this isn't something that I get excited about or I want to dive deeper into. But this meeting is definitely going to be something, and the emergence of Rand Paul as a power in the Trump administration would be great. I know he's getting dinged right now for something else. I guess there was a bill, a 9/11 responders spending bill, $6 billion to responders, and he, if you go on Twitter, they say that he's blocked the bill and doesn't want to give the responders the money, when as soon as I saw it, I knew the answer was he probably wanted to cut spending somewhere else to pay for it. But, in Washington, D.C., nobody cuts anything. And you're seeing, of course, the Christian conservatives and the Republican voters on Twitter all freaking out and acting like it's 2002, screaming and yelling, how could you not give the money to the responders? You're an anti-American piece of crap. You're a rhino. 90% of these people have never even been in New York. They don't know anybody that was affected by 9/11. They don't know a first responder, and they just want to, they go to a football game and they see the American flag and they see the planes flying overhead and they just want to scream and yell that he's being un-American. He already came out and said he just wants an amendment added that we cut something to pay for it. Why is that so hard for people? It's $6 billion. That's like one wing of an F-35, couple bombs, But people will respond to my video and say, not with this. Just, we spend all this money on everything else. Why can't we spend this money on this? And I don't disagree with you. I am closer to 9/11 than most people. I don't agree with government spending, but I would spend $6 billion to help these people. But you can't come out and say that he's un-American when he's been calling for cutting and spending ever since he got into office. Even when the Trump tax cut came up, he almost blocked that bill, and it was a tax cut because it didn't offset with any spending. So the deficit grew, and the deficit has grown. And now they're going after him on that and saying, oh, you'll give tax cuts to millionaires, but you won't give money to the first responders. Like, there's even an equivalency there. A tax cut is the government not stealing money from one person to give it to the government to spend it on the rest of us, when not taking $6 billion it's completely different. It doesn't add, but whatever. Americans suck at math. They suck at math, and none of them want to cut anything. Republicans, Democrats, they don't want to cut anything that affects them. They don't want to fund it themselves. But anyway, this is a development that I will be following. Rand Paul, again, handpicked by the president to be emissary to get some shit done. Maybe we have a path to peace with Iran. If you're not for peace with Iran and you're still out there being Ben Shapiro and being for ground troops, there's a website called army.gov/recruit, I believe, or join. Feel free to sign up and send your ass over there to get shot by a bunch of Persians. So until next time, peace. Hug your family, hug your kids. Don't hug your kids. Hug your kids. And have a good night, everybody.